Good morning and welcome to the 11th Annual Breakfast for Champions. I'm Lisa Malosky and I'm thrilled to be joining you as we celebrate our 11th breakfast with all of you. This is our first hybrid virtual event, so welcome to everybody at home tuning in to see us live here at River Oaks Country Club, where we are all socially distanced as we support SpringSpirit. We will start today by talking about the impact all of you have made. Then we'll learn about the programs and youth SpringSpirit helps. I know you're all excited to applaud our honoree Reid Ryan and hear from Native Houstonian and World Series champion Anthony Rendon, who will be interviewed by World Series champion Lance Berkman. We've got a packed program for you and we plan to wrap everything up by 8:30. To kick things off, please welcome Victor Trejo, a SpringSpirit student who's joining us via Zoom. Victor will deliver our morning prayer. Victor?
Good morning. I am Victor. I do apologize for not being here in person, but due to COVID, I am quarantining. But thank you so much for coming, and I'd like to start us off with a quick prayer, so please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for bringing everyone to this event safely and keeping everyone out of harm's way. I pray that you make this a great morning and that you bless everyone in this room and everyone watching from home. And please help everyone with whatever struggles they may be facing and give them peace of mind. Please, Lord, help guide us closer to you and use us to create change and help those in need. And lastly, Lord, thank you for everything you do for us and thank you for always being with us. In your name we pray, amen.
Thank you, Victor. Victor will be attending Notre Dame on a full ride scholarship this fall. That's impressive. Yay, Victor. Well, we appreciate everyone who has made this possible, especially our breakfast chairs, Julie and Brooks McGee, and our honorary chairs, Kara and Lance Berkman. Julie, Brooks, Kara, and Lance, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Also, I hope you saw at the beginning of the program the generous sponsors on your screens. Let's take a moment to thank all of them, because without them we wouldn't be here. So thank you to our sponsors. Well, the work of SpringSpirit would not be possible without all of you. It takes a lot of people to make the magic of SpringSpirit happen. So we are so pleased to honor our special teammate, Reid Ryan. Reid has been involved with SpringSpirit for many years. He is a long-standing board member, and he and his family have been great supporters, volunteers, and role models for our students over the years. Please now enjoy a video about Reid Ryan.
All right, back to the news of the day out of Minute Maid Park. Reid Ryan is taking over as Astros president.
It really is a dream come true.
You know, when I got to Houston, there was really two jobs. One was inside the four walls of Minute Maid Park, and that was with the employees and the business and the players and everything that we were doing. But really, the bigger job was outside the four walls of Minute Maid Park. I think slowly people started to see that what we were doing was going to bear fruit. And so 2013, 2014, then all of a sudden, boom, 2015, we're in the playoffs. And we had a great chance to go to the World Series that year. And from 2015 on, all the way to, 2020, the Astros, basically the World Series has come through Houston.
Reid has been amazing to work with. I look up to everything he does and try and aspire to be as connected with the community as he is.
I actually first met him in probably late 90s, so over 20 years. Somebody had told him about SpringSpirit, and Reid reached out because he wanted the Astros to be much more invested in the community, and it was important to him to have something that he could, get his family involved with.
Hi, I'm Nicole Ryan. I'm Reid's wife, and we are both SpringSpirit mentors of our little guy, Miguel.
Yeah, he's a guy that connects with everybody, whether or not it's a person that can help him out, who's above him, or whether or not it's just a person who may cross paths with him one time in his life and may come to a couple of games in their lifetime. The fact that they feel connected to Reid, that's pretty special.
He takes the time to really get to know people, whether that's the CEO of a company or the people that are there to clean up the field after the game. He enjoys people. He likes to hear their stories.
Hi, I'm Miguel, and Reid is my mentor. Reid, the Reid family, they're the most kind, caring, and funniest people I know.
So many good life lessons come out of the game of baseball. And the first time I went out to SpringSpirit, I was sold, because really it kind of mixed with everything I wanted to be a part of, which was baseball, teaching kids life lessons, helping, the underserved in our community. My faith is one that I've grown into over the years. And so if you take that mindset and you go out into the community, it's how can I help others see that we're all human, that we're all the same person, we're all fallen. You're an example to somebody.
He taught me like to always represent, always come, always shake hands firmly, always show respect to other people, even if they don't show respect to you. Reid being a part of my life is great, because I like having a second dad almost. Oh my God, I'm about to cry.
You can give a lot of people hope when they know you care about them.
Well, what I would say to everybody that's supporting this event today is thank you. Thank you very, very much, because we all give and help in different ways. And so whether you're the person giving of your time, you're the person giving of your money, or you're giving of both, without your efforts, families, kids are going to miss out on all these valuable life lessons. And the fact that we've had so many kids going to college, achieving things, all of them graduating high school, all of them learning life's lessons through playing sports and not dropping out of athletics. That's what you're supporting here today, and so I would simply say thank you.
Welcome SpringSpirit President and Founder Kenny Baldwin, along with Reid Ryan. Kenny has a special gift for Reid. Guys. All right, thank you. Congratulations, Reid. Thank you, Kenny. And thanks to our entire board, past and present, an amazing network of stakeholders, community partners, and volunteers. Here to update us on SpringSpirit COVID and how we managed to continue to support our students and families this past crazy year, please welcome Director of Development and Mentoring, Alison Young. Alison?
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you, Reid, and thank you to each of you. It is such a pleasure and honor to be here with you, with those of you who are here and those of you who are at home. I've been asked to share some highlights from the past year, what our community has gone through because of COVID, how we've responded, and what we have learned. But fair warning, a lot has happened in the last year, and they've only given me 5 minutes, so I hope your coffee has kicked in and you're ready to go. All right, so first we clearly had to address safety, and for us that meant shutting down our in-person programs temporarily while we figured out how we could safely reopen. And we did eventually figure that out. But in the meantime, our staff started immediately thinking about how we could get creative and still deliver our mission, even in what seemed like impossible circumstances. And I have to tell you, I am so proud of our staff. We have always said at SpringSpirit that we are led by the Holy Spirit and powered by prayer, and never has that been more true than it has been this past year. One of the first things they did was set up a virtual prayer meeting for anyone who wanted to join. We've done this weekly now, and we've had board members and staff members and stakeholders and community members join us to pray for God's guidance, God's provision, and God's wisdom during all of this. And I firmly believe that it is through those prayers that God led us to know that the next most important thing, besides keeping our families safe, the next most important thing was to invest deeply with our families, to know what was going on with each of them, to check on them, to pray with them. Deep relationships have always been part of our secret sauce at SpringSpirit. They're what sets us apart from other organizations and what allows us to help our families grow so much. But normally those relationships happen pretty naturally because people are coming out to the fields and we can get to know them. And now clearly all of that was gonna change. Now with COVID, if we wanted to build a relationship, we were gonna have to find a way to go to them. And so our staff decided to pick up the phone and to call each and every family. And the response from our families was so phenomenal that we knew we were onto something. We knew we had to keep going. And so each and every month, we call each and every family, all 400 of them. And the conversations that have happened in those phone calls have been exactly what has shaped everything else. You see, at first people were getting by pretty okay. They just needed some extra face masks if we had them. But it didn't take long at all before things got really scary. Our students didn't have the technology, and their parents didn't have the expertise to help their children be successful with online schooling. Many of our families started losing their jobs or had their hours cut. And then their pantries started dwindling down to nothing. And then they started fearing eviction as rent became due each month. And then the weight of it all started showing up in the mental health issues like anxiety and depression and even suicidal thoughts. And friends, these types of problems are bigger than any one person or any one organization can address. No, they require God's grace and extraordinary provision and an ecosystem. And I'm so proud and so humbled to be able to share with you that we have been able to pull together with our partners and find solutions to each and every challenge that our families have faced so far. Families got the technology and the internet access, and perhaps most importantly, the information they needed to help their kids successfully navigate all the changes of this past academic year. Our families received and are still receiving food through a combination of non-perishables and fresh meals and even fresh vegetables that some of our donors donate. We estimate that we have distributed to date over 100,000 meals. We've helped our families apply for rental assistance, and of the 400 families we serve, we are not aware of even one eviction. And finally, we're now able to connect our families who struggle with mental health issues with quality mental health care providers, which is something that our community historically has not embraced very easily. God has paved a way in every single situation. But like I said, it's far bigger than SpringSpirit. None of this would be possible if it weren't for all of our partners like you'll see on the screens. I know many of you are involved with these businesses and organizations and churches. Know that your support of them helps us too, and give them a word of thanks next time you're with them. Now, while we were listening closely to our families and finding out ways to troubleshoot all of the COVID-related curveballs that were coming our way, we were also finding ways to continue to offer our regular programming. And once again this year, we are proud to say that we are still having impact. Our kids are still studying, they're still staying active, they're still setting goals and working towards them, and they're still growing into well-rounded, God-loving people. And we've been able to even expand a couple of our programs this year in the virtual context. One that I'd like to highlight is our early reading program, which helps our elementary readers learn to read at or above level and sets the foundation for the rest of their academic success. The second program I'd highlight would be our whole child mentoring program, and that pairs a child one-on-one with a mentor who can help them identify their personal goals and then work towards them with accountability and love. In each of these programs, we're positioned now, with your help, and we would love to have you get involved, to grow these exponentially in the months and years to come. But finally, we couldn't be more proud to let you know that for the third year in a row, 100% of our high school seniors graduated in 2020, and this year's senior class is positioned to do the same. What's more is that 4 students last year and 2 so far this year have received full ride scholarships to college. Y'all, we are so blessed. The struggle isn't ever fun. That's not where we want to be. But for people of faith, the struggle is where God promises to meet us and to make something new. By God's grace, through lots of generous partners, and with your support, that's been the story of this year. We're not just surviving, we are thriving. We are growing through what we're going through. So thank you. Together, we have witnessed nothing short of one giant miracle this year. Grace abounds. And now we want to put the spotlight on one of our special families, the Rodriguez family, who I dare say knows struggle and despair as much as any of us ever have. But they also know faith and hope and community and grace. And that's what we're all about at SpringSpirit. Enjoy their special story.
Go, 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 go. Nice.
SpringSpirit has everything.
It's a whole child approach that set us apart from other organizations. We are intentionally helping our kids get the best of all these programs so they can have the tools to succeed in life.
I just love everyone at SpringSpirit. With softball practices, I always laugh with my teammates and coach. We all have our ups and downs, and it's always super fun.
I started baseball, and then I really liked it. And also I've made like so many friends on the team.
We use the sports to be able to attract them. It's a great opportunity to get a lot of kids to come because parents want to see their kids do stuff. They want to see them active, they want to see them find themselves, they want to see them relate to other kids in a safe environment, and they want to dote on them.
Nice, that's it right there.
I started working with Fernanda Rodriguez back about 3.5 years ago. She's just light up the room with her smile. She's a sweetheart and just always happy and loves life.
I just wanted more friends because at this time I was like lonely. I didn't have that much friends at school, you know, because everyone thought I was like weird or something. So when I met Kim, I was like, oh wow, she's like an adult friend. To have a friend here.
Her mother, Fabiola, reached out to me and told me that her dad had had a stroke.
It totally changed her life, so it was very hard, and she told us that she wasn't prepared, she couldn't do it, so she asked for support that day.
I always could see a path, but in that moment I couldn't so easily, but we prayed. Things started to happen, and we found ways to support them.
She asked me and my husband to be there and help her deliver the news.
But I think that we are a place where people know there's love and where there's resource, not money, but resource, friendships, connections, relationships, those kinds of things. And I think that was a dramatic circumstance that called on all of those things in a moment.
She didn't have the time to grieve. She has to get up and start looking for a job, start to be the head of the house and provide for the girls. It was very tough on her. Where they were living, it was not appropriate for the girls and healthy for the girls and for Fabiola. So we started a process of looking for a place for them to live and find a trailer.
I entered that relationship to be legal counsel, not knowing that I was going to become friends. And immediately I connected with Fabiola when I understood the gravity of what she was going through and how, not alone, but how scary it must be to be in this country without knowing the language and having just lost her soulmate, her soul provider, and her rock. To raise these 4 girls alone, I just tried to put myself in her shoes and couldn't imagine it.
And I was like, how will my mom do it? Like, cause it's 4 of us, like, come on, there's a lot of girls you have to take care of, lots to build, lots of food to eat and stuff like that. They helped us a lot, like a lot, really helped us through our journey after my dad.
Keep riding the ball, just rotate.
You go through difficult moments, and everybody needs to, somebody to support them in those difficult moments. And what we bring at our foundation is the Holy Spirit.
When COVID hit, she lost one of her jobs and was having a hard time making ends meet. And she let me know that she was a good tamale maker. Lo and behold, we got her some supplies, some tamale making supplies, and inside this tiny little kitchen right here, she would churn out 50 dozen tamales. She's just looking for a chance, to make this life work, and she's doing a great job. And she's raising great girls.
Prior to SpringSpirit, I would describe myself as very introverted. I was the type of person that would just sit in the corner and be like, do not talk to me. I feel like my confidence has grown a lot. I feel like SpringSpirit also helped me open up my shell a lot more.
You ready for this next round? Yeah.
SpringSpirit, yo lo escribiría en 3 palabras. Familia, bendición y mucha ayuda.
What I've learned from Fabiola, from the Rodriguez family, it's resilience and faith.
Solamente decir que no tengo los medios, no tengo las cosas para agradecer tantas cosas tanto que me ha dado SpringSpirit a mí y a mi familia en cada momento, en cada situación. No sé, yo a través de ellos, o sea, no me han dejado caer. He sido muy, muy bendecida. Yo lo único que puedo decir es gracias.
Those 4 girls, I'd love to see them find a career or a capability or a talent that they just are fulfilled doing. In the course of doing that in their journey, to see them meet a husband that would love them as much as their dad loved them.
They held me so I didn't give up and fall apart. Those are some powerful words. And I'd like to take this moment to recognize the Rodriguez family and Ana Mendoza, who are here with us this morning. My name is Mary Beth Martinez, and it is my honor to ask you to support SpringSpirit. After what we just heard from the video, I'm not sure there is much more that I need to say about this program, because being there for a family on their darkest day and smoothing their path on the hard days that follow only happens with a hardworking staff that cares deeply, volunteers with conviction and heart, and the monetary resources that underpin it all. My husband and I support SpringSpirit because we believe in this mission and we've seen its success. And SpringSpirit is fortunate to have many strong supporters. In fact, due to the generosity of all of today's sponsors, we are 80% of the way to our goal for 2021. So I'm hoping that in the next few minutes, we can get this all the way across the line so that 2021 will be the best year ever. Now, I've taken the liberty of doing some back-of-the-napkin math on how we as a group can meet the goal today. I'm calling this Mary Beth's formula for giving in unprecedented times. And here's how it goes. Take the amount of money you spent on face masks so far, plus what you spent stocking up on toilet paper and hand sanitizer. Divide that by the number of haircuts you had in 2020. And here is where you're going to need your calculator. Multiply by the number of times you said or heard, "Sorry, I was on mute," on your Zoom calls. In all seriousness, donations of any amount will be celebrated and put to good use. And I am excited to let you know that we have a group of donors who will match your contributions up to $75,000 this morning. Thank you to these generous sponsors. Now let's get tactical. You have a pledge card and pen at your seat if you're here in the room. You can fill it out the old-fashioned way, or you can scan the QR code to go to the donation site. For those of you joining us online, you will be seeing a QR code on your screen that you can also scan or go donate via the website. I want to point out our popular Sponsor a Child donation level. For each child you sponsor, you will get periodic updates about how they are learning and growing. Your sponsorship funds the holistic support that Alison described in her section. Now, as an added incentive to give, for every $500 donated, you will be entered for a chance to win 2 first-class round-trip tickets on United Airlines anywhere in the continental U.S. or Mexico. So, if you are one of those people that used your quarantine time to eat right and work out, grab that Speedo and sunscreen and hit the beach. And if you're not, you've got plenty of time to get in shape. These tickets are good for 2 years. And today, in special recognition of the Ryan family, we will also be drawing for a certified, signed Nolan Ryan bat. So this drawing has something for everyone. And of course, our focus this morning is on topping up the budget for 2021, but we are always in need of people to be mentors and reading volunteers. Mentoring is a great way to encourage, inspire, and develop the younger generation, and all of that is with just a 1-hour commitment a month. Reading volunteers meet over Zoom once a week, and they make a huge impact on the academic success of our youngsters. Our high school daughter volunteers after school, but there are daytime and evening hours available too. So please see the section that says Get Involved to indicate your interest, and we will get back to you to tell you more. So in closing, SpringSpirit needs you. The winners of the United Airlines tickets and the Nolan Ryan bat will be drawn live on Facebook and notified this week. A matching grant of $75,000 is in effect for all donations made this morning, in person and online. And for those of you that fill out a pledge card, there will be a bowl that you can put the card in as you leave today. So we thank you for helping us continue the good work of SpringSpirit. Thanks.
Right side base hit. Here comes Turner. Good start for the Nationals in game number 6. Right through the wide open right side of the infield, and the Nationals strike first. Gomes was put back at first base. He was there with 1 out, now there with 2 out. And Rendon shoots one into left. Back at the wall, it is gone! Anthony Rendon.
Well, those were some pretty impressive highlights, unless you're an Astros fan. Wow! Oh, stake to my heart. Anthony, get on up here. Let me introduce you to one of SpringSpirit's biggest fans and supporters, our keynote speaker, Anthony Rendon. Anthony is a native Houstonian, former collegiate superstar at Rice University, and a World Series champion for the Washington Nationals. I guess if it had to be someone, it was okay that it was a hometown boy. He now plays third base for the Los Angeles Angels, and to us, he's an angel for being here today. Anthony will be interviewed this morning by former Houston Astro and fellow World Series champion Lance Berkman. Lance is a SpringSpirit board member. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Anthony and Lance. Come on up, guys. While they're making their way up here, one little thing I noticed, Anthony, you had 26 home runs as a sophomore in 2010, and the only other Owl to hit more home runs in a season was Lance Berkman. So this will be interesting. I'm not sure that was going to be brought up today, so I thought I would mention it.
Yeah, we had our bats back then were a lot better than the ones that Anthony did season. So
I forgive y'all for not clapping for me.
well, it's fun to be up here with somebody else who broke a Texas team's heart in a World Series game. So we got that in common too, besides playing for the Owls. So I don't know if you looked at these questions. This is the first time I've seen them. So
I saw the email, but okay. I don't know if it got opened.
What I would like to know, despite what's on here, I want to hear a little bit about your, growing up and who got you started playing baseball. I consider you, like, I use you as an example quite a bit for somebody that really knows how to hit and use their hands well in the swing. And you saw that like on that little highlight where breaking ball, being able to shoot it right through the right side for an RBI single. Not everybody can do that. So give us a little bit of a background on you growing up and who got you started playing baseball.
Ironically, no one in my family played baseball. So I have an older brother who's 4.5 years older, and we started playing at the same time. It's a pretty corny story, but my dad always used to tell us that we'd be in the front yard just using like a stick and a pine cone. Our neighbor had a terrible pine cone tree. It would just always be in our driveway, and you would step on them, and like we would go outside barefoot. It was terrible. But it kind of just led one thing to another, where he eventually just bought me a bat and a ball, and then my brother and I started playing at the same time. Started playing in a league at like 4 or 5 years old. My brother started at 8 or 9. And then Willie Ainsley, who was actually a Houston Astros second-round draft pick, or first, in like 88. He was my hitting coach. He's been my coach since about 9 years old or so. And he's the one that pretty much told me how to use my hands.
Okay, so you basically got started playing baseball because of pine cones in your backyard. That's what I'm hearing.
Front yard.
My bad. Okay, yeah. Interesting.
I was more interested in basketball.
More interested in basketball?
But I'm a little too short for that.
Yeah, well, that is definitely a handicap. So you grow up, you're playing Little League, you find out, I mean, were you always a really good player, or was it something that took you some time to develop into? Give us, like, how did that go for you?
I was fortunate enough to be pretty good at a young age, but I think that was only because my brother didn't let up on me. And being a younger sibling, I always wanted to be better than him or push myself to be on the same level, hang around with his friends, basically be as big as he is. He's about 6'2", large human being, and he ate most of the food, and I didn't get any of that. But I think that kind of drove me and pushed me just to be better and better and better. And I always played a year older age group than what I was. And so that continued to push me, and also being the smaller individual on the team, it kind of just made me have to work harder.
And so then you get into high school. Where did you go to high school?
I went to 3 high schools.
Okay,
so
let's hear about that.
You pick a high school in Houston, I probably went there.
All right.
So we grew up on the west side of town, like Highway 6 in Bel Air. If you guys ever been on that side of town, go to Bel Air, and when you hit the dead end, that's where we grew up, right along the bayou, Fort Bend Austin, and Fort Bend Bush, and then I finished up at Lamar.
Okay, and then got recruited by Rice, obviously.
Yes.
And so give us when you got to Rice, what years were you there?
2009, 10, and 11.
So did y'all go to the College World Series? I can't remember.
No.
Okay.
So
not everybody can go to the College World Series at Rice.
I was waiting for this to happen.
Yeah.
Our class was actually the class that stopped going.
Okay.
So 2008, they went. 2009 and on, we have yet to go back. So you can blame me for that.
Yeah, no. That wasn't your fault for sure. So obviously playing there, Coach Graham was still there at the time.
Yes.
Everybody that I've ever talked to has some great Coach Graham stories. And I'm going to put you on the spotlight. Do you have any good Coach Graham stories?
I have a lot.
Well, is there any that you could tell to this group?
That's another question. I mean, I feel like with Coach Graham, it's always going to be an explicit word in there, and that's a key point in the story.
Right.
And the story just doesn't make sense without using those words.
Okay.
I have a great story about you, though.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think you or Jake might have told me this story. We might have been in college when you were with us. He goes, you were playing TSU or some not great school and blowing them out. I think the score was probably 20-2 or something like that. You had to hit a single, you had to hit 2 doubles, you had to hit a homer, just doing a Lance Berkman deal.
Kind of an average game?
Yeah. Maybe a little below. So I believe it's the bottom of the 8th, and you knew it was going to be your last at bat. And I don't know how you do this, but you drove a ball into a gap, and you happened to run 3 bases for the cycle.
Right.
You were pretty winded.
Yeah.
Slid into third base, hopped up, tried to give Coach Graham a high five, said, cycle. And he just stared at you and turned around.
Yeah, pretty much. That's reasonably accurate. But I wasn't always this fat, so running the triple wasn't that big.
That's
of a deal.
not what Jake says.
We were playing A&M in the first pitch tournament, and we were beating the snot out of them. Sorry about that, Aggies, but we used to crush y'all routinely. And so and it was my freshman year, and I did slide into third base. But the crazy part about that story is I was 4 for 4 with the cycle in my first 4 at-bats. I came up 3 more times, punched out twice, had an 0-2 count in my third at-bat, and hit a weak line drive back to the pitcher that he fielded barehanded. And so Coach Graham, after the game, because I did mention that I had the cycle when I slid into third, he spent an hour, he kept us in the parking lot for an hour screaming at me about how I gave up on the team, and after I had my cycle, Berkman, that I quit on the team and punched out twice. And Coach Prather, you remember that. I know you do. So, yeah, that's typical of Coach Graham, and I'm sure there was an expletive thrown in there or two. But anyway, how about a crazy? Did anything ever happen to you on the field? Like I've told the story here about me throwing the ball into the plastic bag when we were at TCU. Did anything ever crazy like that happen to you, or have you seen anything like that, or?
No, but I do have a vivid memory of my freshman year as well.
Okay.
So you go to college, you end up playing 9 innings instead of 7. So it was the top of the 9th. We were winning, 2 outs. Weak ground ball hits me at third base. Easily get the final out. I proceed to throw about a 2-hopper to third base. And Coach Taylor, I don't know if any of you guys know Coach Taylor, after the game we won, he goes, "Can you play 9 innings?" He goes, I don't know if you're ready for that because you can't make the throw in the 9th inning.
Hit the cutoff, man.
Yeah, I think I needed to.
Okay. Well, so after Rice, you get drafted, and you end up you've had a unique perspective to be able to play sort of in all parts of the country. You've been on the East Coast, you've been on the Gulf Coast, obviously at Rice, and now you're out on the West Coast. How do you compare those 3 different areas in terms of living, and where have you enjoyed the most? I know you haven't been out in LA for very long, but kind of give us a little bit of an insight into that.
To be honest with you, I didn't think you were going to ask that question.
Okay.
But
it's not a difficult question.
No, it's not. But that was one of the ones I was reading, and
gotcha.
That was a little too far-fetched. But I think it's people-wise. I don't know if I'm just biased growing up here on the Gulf Coast. But people on the West Coast and the East Coast, they're just, no offense, but they're just rude. I was having a conversation at the table, and you'll go to the grocery store, you'll be in line, and you ask the checker how they're doing, and they'll just look at you like, "Why did you just ask me that?" Like it was just foreign to them. And I think it's just the people and the way we're raised here.
Yeah, I found that to be true myself. Anywhere outside the state, you're getting into some really shaky waters.
Hey, seriously. We need to secede real quick.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So, you've had a chance to play for a couple different managers. Of course, Dusty Baker is the manager here in Houston now. You had an opportunity to play for him in Washington. Give us some dirt on Dusty. Like, what's it like playing for Dusty? What's your experience been like with him? How would you compare him to some of the other guys that you played for?
Oh, I love Dusty. He was great. I think him and Graham actually have some similarities.
Do tell.
Definitely in the words that they use, but also that they're not going to beat around the bush. And I think as a player, that's what we need. They're going to tell you how it is. So they're not going to kind of like sugarcoat it, make sure that you feel good about yourself. I feel like as an athlete that we need to know what the problem is, and then we can actually fix it and make a change and become better. And I think Dusty is one of those individuals, but I don't know if he's going to watch this or not.
Well, you're not playing for him, so who cares?
That's true. I still like him, though. I'm going to have to see him 6 times a year.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't talk trash to him because he gets in his feelings. So he'll dish it to you really good, but as soon as you fire back at him, he gets pretty upset.
He's sensitive?
Yeah, he's sensitive.
Guy?
Okay. He's getting older.
I'll keep that in mind. So
be careful.
I know that, when you make a World Series run like y'all did in 2019, there are moments that really stand out to you. There, whether it be somebody else did something that that was critical.
Yeah. Give
us a little bit of an insight into that whole 2019 deal, because honestly, a little bit of a Cinderella story type deal where it seemed like you guys just had the mojo going and really believed in yourselves. You had a great mix of veteran and young players, and it all came together. So kind of walk us through that whole 2019, end of the season, into the playoffs, and then eventually winning the World Series.
Hey, it sucked at first. We can't even lie. Because we knew that we were really good, and we had a lot of great talent on the team. But for some reason, we would lose games real late.
Probably had a bad closer.
Yeah, we had a couple bad closers. I shouldn't have said that. It was like you score runs, and then the bottom of the inning they'll score 2 runs, and so
I hate those pitchers.
you always figure like you try to take 1 step forward, you take 2 steps back. But I think the turning point was we were in Philly. Philly was terrible. For some reason that they would just always give us a hard time. And we were going back and forth. It was one of those games, and we rallied back in the 9th inning to go into extras. And like Soto came up, and that's when he hit like a towering shot to right field. I think in the 12th inning or something, ended up pushing us over to win. And I think that was kind of like seeing us get it that excited about just the game in Philly, that fans are terrible there, and that kind of just linked us together. And from then on, I think we kind of went on that run where we felt like we were winning every game, and then that was a pretty much fight to get into the playoffs in general, and then you guys watched the majority of it, so we ended up winning.
Right. Now, I want to know kind of what your thoughts on this. As I was watching that World Series, to me, the biggest difference between the two teams, I was watching, your lineup, and there's a willingness to hit the ball the other way, and hit the ball back up the middle, and really committing to a middle approach. And we're going to kind of nerd out baseball-wise on you, but for those of you that aren't familiar with the game, too bad. We're going to talk about it. I felt like you guys were really committed to staying in the middle of the field, using just like that single you hit off of Verlander right there to score a run. And the Astros sort of got into this deal where they're trying to jerk everything on the train tracks, and as a result, your pitchers were able to sort of exploit that.
Yeah.
I know Kevin Long, who's a great hitting coach, was y'all's hitting instructor.
It's man.
Can you give us any insight? Was that a game plan that you guys put together? How did y'all approach that because the Astros had a great pitching staff?
I really do believe that. So we had the oldest team in baseball that year, and I really do believe that it was just the fact that majority of the team was older, and so they knew how to play the game. That was the old school mentality versus maybe a new school, and the fact that it's about 310 or 315 to left field in Houston, and it's as a hitter, it's easy. Like I could just yank one, hit a pop up to left field, and be happy about it. And you hit a homer.
What are you trying to say?
I've seen your right-handed swing, and so you fall into that trap a lot. And Reid, you've probably seen it where. I'm strong enough. I could just flick it over there. It's a bad at bat. It's terrible. It's going to lead to more terrible at bats down the road when you go to Anaheim or you go to other stadiums. It's just a fly ball, and I think we kind of just stuck to our game plan that we had the whole year. Howie Kendrick, he lives the other way.
Yeah.
Zimmerman, he's been in the game for how long? He goes the other way really well also. So I just think it just played into our favor.
Yeah, there's no doubt that did. So just in wrapping up, finally, we certainly appreciate those of us that are friends of SpringSpirit. Appreciate you taking your time out to do this. Can you give us, as the last question, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but why are things like this important? As a guy that has a great platform, has a lot of influence, you're taking time out early morning, get up, come do this. Why is it important to you to support organizations like SpringSpirit?
I think for me personally, it's. I wouldn't say I was a part of it. I was one of these kids, but what SpringSpirit does well is the relationships that they build with these kids and with these families. And Jake, Joe, Dylan. These are guys here that have chosen to have relationships with me and help me grow personally. And so, I can relate to it to an extent. And so I think I need to actually give back and be a part of that as well.
Well, Anthony, we sure appreciate you being here this morning. Really enjoyed getting to talk to you, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed it as well.
You two make Houston and SpringSpirit proud. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you, Lance, for conducting the interview. You will see on your screen how to donate with your QR code and our website to give. If you're here with us today, you can scan the QR code, as Mary Beth mentioned, in your program, or fill out those pledge cards. And remember to put your mask on, please, as you exit, and to socially distance on your way out. Thank you all for being here. You make all the difference. Make it a great rest of your day and enjoy this gorgeous Houston weather. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day.